Welcome to the channel and welcome back to another video. On this video, I want to give you guys 8 ways to keep your best tenants. If you're a landlord, if you're a property manager, if you're thinking about getting into the rental business or rental game, this video is for you. My name is Eric and I write a blog over at smartmoneybro.com. When you get a moment, check out some of the blog posts and some of the things that we write about and talk about on that website. Over there, we try to help ordinary people be extraordinary with their money and with their real estate. We also do one-on-one consultations with individuals and small businesses, helping them to grow their money, manage their money, budget their money, and their real estate. I also give free 15-minute phone conversations. You can contact me. My contact information is below. If you're stopping by this channel for the very first time, please consider subscribing to the channel. And please, if you get anything at all out of this video, smash the like button for me. So let's jump into 8 different ways and things you can do to keep good tenants. First, what is a good tenant? I've been owning and managing rental real estate for over 20 years. And in my 20 years, I've probably had close to 90 or 100 different tenants. And there's 2 things that stick out to me about what makes a good tenant. Only 2 things, keeping it as simple as possible. The very first thing that defines a good tenant is someone that pays rent on time. The second thing that defines a good tenant is someone that takes really good care of the property. Now, those 2 things alone make a good tenant. You pay on time and you take care of the property. Everything else will take care of itself after that. So it's one thing to find good tenants and screen good tenants, and you have a process in place for getting good tenants. But it's another thing to actually keep those tenants in your properties, because when you get a good tenant, you really don't want to let them go. Oftentimes, it can be tough to find good, solid tenants, and tenants that stay in your property and want to stay in your property. That's a whole nother ball game. That's what we're talking about on this video. 8 ways, 8 things you can do to hold on to those good tenants. So let's jump into it. The very first thing that you need to do if you want to hold on to good tenants and keep them around is you need to treat tenants fairly. Treat them well. Treat them nice. Be kind. Sometimes you got to treat them really extra nice and kind, even though they're getting on your last nerve as a landlord or as a property manager. You've got to treat them well. Treat them right. Typically, not all the time, but typically when you treat people well, people will tend to respond by treating you well. And as a landlord or property manager, you want to be fair with your tenants and be as kind as possible. Treat them right. The second thing you want to do to keep good tenants is be conscientious about how you take care of your property. In other words, if you see something going wrong with your property, fix it as a landlord. If you know that there's a hole in the wall, or there's exposed wiring, or there's some type of mildew or something like that, take care of it as soon as possible. Don't treat the property poorly and then expect the tenant to treat the property well. It doesn't make sense. So the one thing you can do to help keep these good tenants is show them that you're concerned about the property, and you want to make sure the property is not affecting the well-being of any tenants in the property. So you're on it. You show them that you care about your property. And that can make all the difference in the world to a tenant, especially a good tenant who's already paying on time and already taking good care of the property. If something goes wrong, they want to know that you care about the property also. The third thing you want to do as a property owner is you want to make sure that you're as consistent as possible with your tenants. Be consistent. Don't be one thing one day and something totally different 6 months later, because a lot of times people are renting houses or homes or apartments or duplexes from you. The property can be mediocre in their mind, but if they have a good landlord who's consistent, they may stick around for that. In other words, they're not so in a hurry to move if they got a good landlord who they can depend on and who's honest and who is consistent. Sometimes that can be the difference between having someone move out of your property or having someone stick around. The fourth thing you want to do is act fast. If something goes wrong in the property, be on it immediately. If you have a tenant that gives you a call because of a plumbing issue, don't wait 2 and 3 and 4 weeks to fix it. One, it's not being consistent, and it's not showing that you care about your property, and it's not responding quickly. But two, it could also cause a lot of damage to your property in the long run. There's nothing worse for a tenant to go through than to have a landlord who won't answer the phone or who is very slow and doesn't respond to their request. So one of the ways you can set yourself apart from other landlords and other property managers or property owners is to simply respond to things as quick and as fast and as prompt as possible. Number 5. Now, number 5 kind of goes along with the consistency, but number 5 is specifically make sure you're following the lease to the T. As a landlord, you want to make sure that what's written in the lease is like gold, because the lease is your legal contract. If you ever have to evict somebody, you're going to go off what's in the lease to make sure you recoup whatever monies or damages that you incur. So you want to make sure that you follow your lease to the T, and you communicate that up front with the tenant and say, listen, when we sign this lease is our contract, and I'm going to follow everything in this contract to a T. And that way your tenant knows up front what the parameters are. You've communicated with them clearly that the lease is going to be the main thing that's going to drive how we perform this contract between you as a tenant and me as the owner of the property. The 6th thing that you can do to make sure you keep good tenants is be as proactive as possible when it comes to repairs on the property. In other words, if you see that the weeds are growing up on the fence line and it's taken over the whole fence, don't wait around for that to get out of control. Go ahead and take care of that. If you see that leaves are gathering in the gutters of your properties, go ahead and clean the leaves out. Being proactive when it comes time to taking care of the property, again, it shows the tenant that you care and are concerned about your properties. And it shows the tenant that you want to make sure they're living in the safest possible conditions. So get on things before they happen. You can do some preventive maintenance things always around the property for the tenant. Again, we're talking about the fact that you have the good tenant, the tenant that pays on time, the tenant that takes care of the property. You want to reward that tenant as much as possible. And that leads to number 7. 1 or 2 times a year, you want to give your good tenants a discount on their rent. Now, when I say a discount on the rent, I don't necessarily mean 1 month free, although you could do that. You could also do 50% off 1 month, or you can do 25% off, or you can do a dollar figure and say 200 or 300, whatever it is. You figure that out. But do that discount on rent at a strategic time of the year. You could simply say in the lease, and you want to put this in the lease so it's understood up front. Now, how that comes or at what month, that's up to you. If it's a couple that has no children, maybe it's around February, Valentine's Day in America, that you do the discount. If you see that your tenants have small children, perhaps you do the discount around August when the time comes for school to start. If you take off some rent at the time when school starts for them to go out and buy school clothes or school supplies, tenants will appreciate that. Perhaps it's around Christmas when people want to buy Christmas gifts. So you decide, and you be very strategical about when you offer that discount, but you put it in your lease that you're going to offer a discount, an incentive for them to pay their rent on time. Everybody loves and appreciates a discount. Tenants are no different. If you offer this discount to them, it may act as an incentive for good tenants to stick around. And finally, number 8. The 8th thing that you can do for tenants, for good tenants, is to be as honest and as upfront as possible. Most people, especially good tenants, appreciate you being as honest and as upfront as possible. A good tenant is usually a person of good character and good integrity, and they respect you as a landlord or a property manager or a property owner when you show good character and integrity up front with them. So those are my 8 things that you can do as a landlord or property owner to manage your property well and do yourself the favor of keeping good tenants. Hey, if you got anything at all out of this video, do me a favor, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. The best person to take care of the old you is the young you. Take care of your tenants, take care of yourself, and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.